Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune in to Kyle Brust and Nortman every day from 2 to 5. WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
What you need to know for every game to make your best bets. Will you fade or will you follow? Welcome to the Weekly Wager. Broadcasting live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios in Milwaukee. Alongside Josh DiMaggio, here's Ben Brust.
Ben Brust and Josh DiMaggio live from Potawatomi Casino Hotel's amazing sportsbook. Chris Larson's running the show. And if you're on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee, you'll see that Josh and I don't like each other very much, as there is a safe distance between each other. We can barely touch, but I don't want to touch him. And it's getting sad because there's now only 2 games left in the NFL season. We will get to those later on in the show. But I tell you what, I'm very excited to have a conversation with Josh DiMaggio. And this is no knock, absolutely no knock on Kyle Wallace. But he owns stock. Mm-hmm. He carries water for Policy, Goody, LaFleur, you name it, everybody. And so it's not that I'm going to say that Matt LaFleur is a bad coach. I think there's an in-between that we can discuss here with Josh DiMaggio where I just feel like we're missing it. I feel like, tell me if this is fair, Joshy.
Yes.
I've broken it out into thirds. After the Packers-Bears game, I felt as if there was a third of fans that were like, it's all right, like, you know, injuries, whatever, Matt LaFleur should stay.
Good coach, good regular season history, been in the playoffs 6 to 7 years.
Sustained success. Mm-hmm. A third of fans went right to their Facebook pages and said, get rid of Matt LaFleur. And then over time,
in our YouTube chat.
Over time, come Monday, come Tuesday after the emotions settle, Matt LaFleur, I understand if he stays. And there's probably a third that are like, what the hell are we doing?
Stubborn.
Matt LaFleur is not going to take us anywhere further than he has in the last 7 years. To take that to the next step, Josh DiMaggio, at what point can we get rid of you can't get rid of it entirely, but the Aaron Rodgers wasn't as good as he was before Matt LaFleur. True. But Aaron Rodgers was a Hall of Fame quarterback with or without Matt LaFleur. And who's to say that he ends up with a McVay or Sean Payton or like an offensive-minded head coach that rejuvenates his career?
Yeah.
Right? So I understand that Matt LaFleur deserves credit, but if we want to also look into the tenure of decision-making and head coaching with Matt LaFleur with Aaron Rodgers, 2019, A+. First year as a head coach, you win 13 games, you make it to an NFC Championship game. You knew you had holes with the run defense. The first year of implementing a new system for Aaron Rodgers, the offense wasn't that great, but he found a way to win 13 regular season games and go to the NFC Championship game. 2020, you can put it on both Rodgers and LaFleur. But from a coaching standpoint, he made a one-score game and never got the ball back.
Yep.
In 2021...
Wasn't it a two-score game, a two-score game?
No, it was one score.
Okay.
One score. He kicked a field goal to keep it a one-score game. No one would use that if he kicked a field goal to make it a one-score game. Right. 2021, the narrative was, well, we were the 1 seed. It was COVID. We had cardboard all over the stadium. We won a home game as the number 1 seed at Lambeau Field. You got that. Special teams laid an egg. The offense did not do anything. I think they scored on their first drive, if I'm not mistaken. And ultimately, Aaron Rodgers, with about 3 minutes and 45 seconds left or so, threw it to double coverage Devontae Adams with Alan Lazard, and the other receiver is blanking on me right now, maybe MVS at the time, was open over the middle of the field. Regardless, the performance at home from an offensive mind wasn't good enough. 2022, with Aaron Rodgers, despite all of the crap that went on, they lost a de facto playoff game to a team that watched Seattle win at 325, knowing that they were playing the Packers to not make the playoffs. And if the Packers win, they make the playoffs. They lose that game at home in front of the fans again. 2023, the first year of Jordan Love.
We're only at 23.
Yeah, but again, I'm trying to provide all the context here. Before we have an hour to do this, right? We're not going to do the whole context for an hour. A+, 3-6, make the playoffs, win a game. First time ever as a 7 seed that somebody wins a game on the road against the Cowboys. 24 just wasn't good enough. Couldn't beat any good teams. And this year, despite the injuries, the collapses throughout the regular season, to the I don't care if 3 more players got hurt in the second half, you cannot, after seeing the Bears 2 times before that, lose with a 21-3 lead at half. I don't care if it's in Chicago. I don't care if it's in Alaska. I don't care if it's played in a country where they painted lines before the game and they're
crooked,
uneven. That is where I go when I think about Matt LaFleur, is what has he done as the culture setter to show us that whatever quarterback it is, that the team or himself will elevate to the expectations per year.
Yeah, when it comes to Matt LaFleur, I don't think anybody who's saying he shouldn't be the head coach in 2026 is saying he's some terrible head coach, doesn't know how to run an offense, and doesn't know what he's doing as a head coach. I think what the people who, like me, still disagree with the extension he received is maybe he's just a good coach. And maybe the ceiling for someone like Matt LaFleur with the roster construction and the way the Packers build teams, maybe the best you can get is an NFC championship appearance every, 5-6 years. And then it's going to be disappointment after disappointment. The things that have plagued Matt LaFleur have been oftentimes his own doing. A lot of times when you went through that history there was Matt LaFleur had his fingerprints all over the losses of games. If you remember the San Francisco game where they basically couldn't muster any offense, then had a punt blocked for a touchdown that ended up losing them the game.
Yes, it was a special teams punt block.
Those were persistent issues that carried on throughout the year. They were never fixed. They were never remedied. It was something that plagued them all season long. He did replace it to Rich Bisaccia, who then raised them from the worst special teams to the 28th best special teams in the NFL. There's the in-game decision-making, the blowing of 10-point leads in the fourth quarter with less than 5 minutes remaining.
Timeout utilization.
Yes, which he's gotten wrong more times than you can count. We had it again when he in the final series of the Bears game, when they took that timeout instead of spiking the ball or just trying to hurry up and run a play. There was the time where the clock almost ran out for them. Was it Jordan Love? They were just sort of standing there, and then they luckily had a ball batted down.
Dude, yes, Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's not talked about enough.
Right.
Especially I think they had not been unsuccessful in that game in the red zone.
Right.
And even before the 2-minute warning, they were moving at a snail's pace.
Right. And then Matt LaFleur tried to give some justification. They basically were never in hurry up because I think Matt LaFleur was more worried about running the clock out than actually scoring and winning the football game. You have the Browns game, you have the Bears game the first time. It's just all these instances where the team comes up short because I don't think they have a strong culture, a strong leader, or somebody with a killer instinct. Matt LaFleur's whole thing has been letting people back into games. I think the Packers with Matt LaFleur are going to be probably a perennial playoff team. Do I think accepting that and extending that is sort of inviting to a degree mediocrity or complacency? I do. I do think you title yourself Titletown USA. The expectations are higher for that. I have my doubts about Matt LaFleur ever winning a Super Bowl with Green Bay. I have my doubts about there being material change even to the staff this year. It seems like it's kumbaya up there in 1265.
Like I said, they got massages, they had steak, they had wine, they went to the American Club, they had a great time at Kohler.
There seems to be Brian Gutekunst talked about a sense of urgency, and we talked about, well, are you going to do the things that show you have a sense of urgency and are trying to win a Super Bowl, or are you going to continue to do things status quo, stay with the level of complacency? I think Brian Gutekunst showed the level of urgency by going out and acquiring somebody like Micah Parsons. I don't know if the Packers roster, the players, nor their leader in Matt LaFleur shows that thing. Shows that type of behavior. To me, when I forget who it was it Quay Walker who said it feels like this has continued?
Yeah, that was Quay.
This has happened here before, even before I got here, which sort of tells you everything you need to know.
Javon was more of like, we need to be know, more of like, we got to be better than this. And he's so new that I understand his mindset, but Quay's been there long enough now and kind of feels what he was telling us what he's been feeling year after year and what might have been a culture from before he got there.
And that's the thing, I don't think that just magically changes. I think a strong voice in addition to the room, maybe a defensive coordinator who is a little bit different than Jeff Hafley. I think an associate head coach who's your right-hand man, which is now Rich Bisaccia, could be that type of person, but clearly is not. Like, to me, it's more of the same, and I don't know why I would raise my expectations, even with a fully healthy roster in 2026. I don't know why my expectations would raise to playoff team to like a Super Bowl caliber. There should be one of the final four teams, and then do you win that final matchup? That to me isn't something I'm even considering with Matt LaFleur at this point. I don't think the Packers have the cap space to do it, so I don't know what would change year over year other than Jordan Love going from what I think is a top 5 quarterback into a top 2-3 takeover games type guy, and I don't know if Jordan Love's ever going to have that level of play. I think that's a lot to ask from any singular quarterback. I think short of Patrick Mahomes, I don't think we have a single one of those guys in the NFL right now. Maybe Drake May is going to make his case for being one of those in the future, but right now it's Aaron Rodgers led so much for the Packers for so long, and you felt like you always had a chance because of Aaron Rodgers. And this isn't even saying anything bad about Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers is like one of one. He was that sort of raised the floor for everyone. And if you don't have that guy, you need other pieces around him and other leadership to take him there. Tom Brady doesn't have the career he has without a Bill Belichick. He's probably still a great winner. He's still probably highly successful. He probably still has 1 or 2 Super Bowls. But to elevate that second tier of person, I think you need a great head coach. And I don't think the Packers have a great head coach.
Well, I think especially when you look at the personality of Jordan Love, what makes him so great as a quarterback is his consistency of who he is. Whether you like the way he carries himself or not, that's up to you. I think it works for him. But it's not one that I think is a super hold everyone accountable because of who he is as a person, which is fine, but that's got to come somewhere else, whether it's on the offense or typically it would come from a head coach. And if there's too much buddy-buddy, and I mean that from across the board, from the way that they met about the contract situation, from the way that Rich Bisaccia is still around, from the way that he has relationships where it feels like he holds on to a guy 1 year too late, now 8 years for Rich Bisaccia too late. Again, we don't know if he's going to be gone or not. But the fact that it feels like he's going to, based off what we're hearing.
The drum beat from the people who know stuff seems to be telling us that's not the case.
And I'm starting to see some things around there almost that feel like propaganda to prop Rich Bisaccia up in a way of who he is and why he matters for Matt LaFleur so much. It's just, to me, it's a frustrating place to be because a change isn't Jeff Hafley moving to a head coaching job. A change is we are telling you that your services are no longer required because it's not up to standard. But it makes the message to me feels what was last year was up to standard. Injuries are not, the way that a lot of his fingerprints were on those games. It would feel really wrong to me if I was going into 2026
I think what they're going to try
with the mindset of, yay.
I think what they're going to try and sell us is we got a new defensive coordinator here, we got a new offensive line coach, and here's their new linebackers coach, and Here's what these guys are going to do and elevate some of the most important players and investments we have on this team and how we're going to get better. To me, that's half measures. To me, that's sort of just trying to do a little bit of fan service. I do agree that the offensive line coach probably does need to be replaced, but we still don't know what Adam Stenavich does, what he contributes, what value add he is to the organization. We knew what Lugetzi did. That was a thing talked about. He was great in the red zone. He had all these special red zone plays. For Adam Stenavich, all I know is he goes out and embarrasses the organization every other week when he speaks at a microphone, and then Matt LaFleur has to clean it up. What is it past then? Have you noticed? There's all these job openings. Have you heard Adam Stenovich's
That's
name
the biggest thing about
ever
Stenovich. It's not like, hey, man, this guy's so good that he's getting requested for interviews.
Right. I mean, there's guys on the defensive line coach, DeMarcus Covington, is getting asked. There's people behind him. Derek Ainsley's been a guy that's named thrown around. Campanelli went down to the Jaguars.
And was a great defensive coordinator for them.
Those were assets. The guys that are sticking around because nobody's that interested or knows what they're doing, that's a problem. And I think Matt LaFleur has a level of comfortability. The fact that they went into this contract extension and it came away with the reporting from Rob Demoski as there was really no demands put on him. It really only took 24 hours. It felt like a formality. Even the result we saw, the disappointment we saw, meant nothing. That they had given themselves
it being a one-day scenario is kind of a slap in the face to anyone who felt like it wasn't good enough.
The fact there was no consternation of we need some wholesale change. We need a different culture. We need to improve. We need to put away all these things that have plagued us during your tenure here. The one thing I had, and this is the first time it came to my mind, Matt LaFleur gets all of this credit for the resurgence of Aaron Rodgers' career. Isn't that Goody's credit?
Tell me why.
Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers didn't start playing like he did with Matt LaFleur until Jordan Love came to town. And when he got bitter and he got angry and he wanted to stick it to everyone, said, "Oh, you think I'm done? You're ready to move on?"
The greatest competitors do in those moments.
Right. And how much do we know? Sure, his offense helped. Matt LaFleur's offense helped Aaron Rodgers, and it was a new style and a more modern style. But when it comes to the individual performance of a person, it sure seems like the guy behind him was the one. He was trying to keep that guy down there and as a backup and not taking his job.
And again, I understand if you feel like this is negative, but I also feel like it's fair. You know what I mean? If you want to say you guys are negative, that's fine. But then tell us where we're wrong at 800-990-3776, the Carbos Talking text line.
I don't think we're being negative. I think we're sort of addressing things as they are. And you can disagree with them or you can not like the way we're framing them. But it's not like anything we've said is untrue. I listened. I was texting you about your program and the way Kyle and Strofe, to be frank, were talking about it, which is, they're as toady as it gets. They're going to toe the line. They're going to have their issues, and then once the terms get dictated, it's like, all right, Super Bowl's back on.
It almost feels like anybody who is a Packer backer that is scared to go against the grain is nervous that they won't get invited to sit in a suite with Brian Gutekunst and Ed Policy, which they're never going to get to do anyway. That's my aside, but I do want to look at potential replacements for Jeff Hafley because it is important, especially when you have, I would say, top-heavy talent. They're top-heavy talent on the defense. I'm not even talking about contract, but more about who can make an impact and why that would be appealing to a defensive coordinator. We hit on that in the Weekly Wager. Next.
More bets coming up. This is the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neal Group. Well, here we are. It is 2026. Remember last year when you said never again? Did it work? You didn't start your business to spend lots of time doing bank reconciliations, cash flow projections, or inventory analysis. Let us help you keep your New Year's resolution to stay on top of your finances and keep your books up to date. Don't do the same thing this year and expect different results. Start the year off on the right foot by calling the Neal Group to help you understand your numbers and make them better. You earned it. We help you keep it. Call 414-325-2040 now to set up a meeting to see how you can make 2026 the best year ever. The first meeting is free. That's 414-325-2040 or visit us at nealgroup.net. That's NEAL group.net.
4 years, it's enough time to earn a college degree, to serve a full term as a president, to raise a toddler into a kindergartner, to train for something big and become someone new.
Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin is offering 0% interest for 4 years, so you can invest in your home and use your hard-earned savings for life's biggest moments. Offering Pella exclusive features like blinds between the glass and customizations to match every home style. We believe in providing our customers with the highest quality products and top-notch service at a price you can afford. Tested, safe, durable, and backed by a limited lifetime warranty, Pella is rated #1 for craftsmanship, innovation, and exceptional design.
So aim high and think long-term when setting your New Year's resolution. And imagine what you can accomplish in 4 years when you finance your home project with Pella Windows and Doors Wisconsin. Start your journey today at PellaWI.com.
Hey y'all, it's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. Spent a lot of time pitching heat. Years later, the pain in my joints remind me of those days, but I'm not looking to sit still, and I definitely am not interested in going under the knife. That's why I chose QC Kinetics.
Not just for elite retired athletes. QC Kinetics gives everyday folks joint pain relief using regenerative treatments that work with your body to help repair joint damage.
No surgery, no long recovery, whether it's your knees, hips, shoulders, or back. My friends at QC Kinetics will help you get moving again so you can get back to doing the things you love.
QC Kinetics medical professionals will look at your x-rays or MRI to determine if you're a good candidate.
I trusted QC Kinetics to help me feel like myself again, and I'm proud to recommend them to you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-240-2298. That's 414-240-2298. 414-240-2298.
The Milwaukee Weight Loss Program has been able to change the lives of thousands of people with this incredible metabolic reset program. We know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day with no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no counting points or calories, no drugs, no surgery, and no injections with the risk of serious side effects. There's no better time than now to give yourself the gift of a new you in this new year. Schedule your free consultation now by visiting MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
Josh DiMaggio here, and I'm starting 2026 off right with Milwaukee Weight Loss. Their team has been absolutely amazing through the consultation process, and they even created a customized plan for me and my weight loss goals. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. Call for your free weight loss consultation, 262-235-3980. That's 262-235-3980, or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
This is the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Jeff Hafley is moving on to the Miami Dolphins to become a head coach. What does that mean for the Green Bay Packers? Well, Matt LaFleur's got to figure out who's going to be leading the defense. And when I say leading the defense, I truly mean that in every sense of the word, because it felt like, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, as it's Ben Brush and Josh DiMaggio on the Weekly Wager, live from Potawatomi Casino Hotels and Macy's Sportsbook. The last year of Joe Barry, I feel like LaFleur kind of got a little bit more involved on the defensive side.
Yes,
which is no good.
I remember that quote distinctly, and he was asked if he had ever gotten involved on the defensive side before, and he said no.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. And so then when he did, it makes me think, all right, Jeff Hafley probably didn't want to live in the NIL era at Boston College when he was a college coach, but he was a head coach, so he did lead a team. He clearly has a presence. He was good on press conferences, whether you think that matters or not. I bet you it helped him in interviews for head coaching jobs.
It certainly mattered to fans, and I know people like to say the beat writers all loved him, and yeah, they did. But I really think the fans, when they heard and saw him speaking at the microphone, really liked just the presence he had.
For sure, because it was a breath of fresh air.
Because if you look at the end of the season and how things went, and yes, we all recognize there was injuries, but those were collapses. And that was the guy leading the defense. He has full control over it, and it feels like he paid nothing from the fan base for historic defensive collapses.
I do want to go to the phone lines. Let's go to the Carbless Talk and Text line, 800-990-3776. George in Milwaukee, you're up on on the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Casino Hotel on Matty LaFleur.
Yes, George Burke's no relation to guard. I'm a little biased because I do like Matt because I played high school football with the guy. Class 1998, Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Mount Pleasant Oilers. But I don't even know if he even knows that I'm even in Wisconsin. But anyway, I know it is surreal. I got to tell you, my friend, it is surreal seeing him on TV every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So, but I know this. He's not a quitter. His dad, Denny LaFleur, used to be a linebackers coach. He's tough, from Central Michigan University, linebackers coach. He comes from good genes. Now, I can tell you that Matt is probably surrounded by the wrong people. We do need new special teams. We do need more toughness. I don't know if you're ever going to get a Mike Ditka or a Dana Campbell out of Matt LaFleur. I don't know if you ever get that. You probably won't. But I can tell you he will make it. He will get you to the finish line. He comes from Sean McVay's coaching tree. Sean McVay, he's not a tough guy, but he still has a Super Bowl ring, because he surrounds himself with the right people. You put in a few more key players. We need a new kicker. I really thought that Brandon McManus was the guy. I really wanted him to be. But he's not the guy. He cost us the game. He cost us the game against Chicago. Nobody can deny that. Now, granted, our defense could have played better. Our offense could have played better. But it comes down to special teams like it was. The same story, a few years back. Remember the San Francisco, game, the Robbie Gould, last minute. Again, special teams. We haven't refined that in Green Bay, and it needs to be done. But Matt's the guy, and he really, half the roster was injured. That's not his fault. That's not his fault.
Well, Georgie, I appreciate the interesting story.
Yeah, the context.
It would be very surreal to have that background and then see him on Sundays wearing the G.
I don't know how much I disagree with it all encompassing of what George said.
There's bits and pieces, of course. It's at the end. It started getting to I know him, I believe him. I get that. I would want to believe in someone I know too.
Right, but also I think Matt LaFleur really does want to achieve. I think he's desperate to do it. I think you can see it in the way he's reacting on the sidelines.
Correct.
And
it matters.
And
we know that. We don't think he's a bad coach.
Right,
but also to his point about special teams. Rich Bisaccia is still there,
right?
And he chose to keep him there. And right now, it sounds like through reports that he's going to be there.
Yes.
So even someone who believes in Matt LaFleur is looking for something different. And here's the thing about the McManus situation that I think we overlook. McManus was really good, but when he got injured, there was misses, and then he didn't go out and kick. And Haversick was good, but we kept going. He was still good in practice, Ultimately, all of that back and forth in the middle of the season put his ass on IR,
right?
Get healed, and if you truly believe in him and have no worries, then guess what? He'll be your kicker. Yeah. I just that was mismanaged as well. Not only from the McManus situation, we want to wind the clock back from a special team standpoint. It's not a coincidence that Anders Carlson, the brother of Daniel, was drafted by the Green Bay Packers, which they should never draft a special teamer ever again because it's not worked out since they've done it, getting a long snapper and a punter, and so they shouldn't do that. So again, there's my picking apart the parts that I don't agree with. But again, like you said, I think there are some points there where he could surround himself with better people.
I think. One of my biggest gripes with Matt LaFleur is
I'd love to know if George Ashley played with Matt LaFleur.
He seemed to know a whole lot about Matt LaFleur. You could probably still find that information, but it seems like a weird thing to go that in depth on. My biggest gripe with Matt LaFleur is I don't think he surrounds himself with the right people, like George said, and I don't think he holds either players nor coaches accountable to the correct degree. And I think that more so than even some of the late game decisions and some of the offensive game plans that have been not the best, I think that's probably the biggest through line through his history with the Packers, and I don't know how that fundamentally changes. It feels like he absorbs all of the blame and then lets his guys, be it players or coaches, sort of skate on those things. And Rich Bisaccia sticking around, Adam Stenovich sticking around, Joe Barry sticking around for as long as he did, the amount of special teams coaches they've been through in that time with Maurice Drayton and Sean Menenga, like, those guys didn't perform, and they all got way too much time to do it. Bringing Joe Barry back for his final year was patently absurd. We all, single person.
Was that the Tommy DeVito year?
Yeah,
it got worse.
Every person knew it was silly, and Matt kept him around.
He's a nice guy.
And that, to me, is the biggest thing that you can point to, and the biggest thing that I don't think is going to change. I don't think he's suddenly going to be someone who really holds those guys to account, because if you keep them around and you try and change your managerial approach 3 years
People
into
see through that.
Right. They're all going to know this is nothing. You're not going to make me pay.
We worked together for a long time on a show, Scalzo and Brust, weekdays 4 to 6 across ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison. We still work together in different capacity now. But if we were to do a show together and I try to change the way that we work together in a different way, you'd be like, what are we doing? Again, there's enough sample size to know who he is from a culture setter and a leader.
Right. And that sort of stuff just, to me, I don't see changing, and that is what makes me say, and I've even said, and I'll say it here again, I think Matt LaFleur probably ends up winning a Super Bowl, but it's probably elsewhere. Like, I think he's that high quality of an offensive play caller.
So when you say that, why wouldn't you
I think it's going to take the moment and self-realization of, I got fired, I got put out on my ass, and I have to change things, because what I did for the Green Bay Packers wasn't good enough, and I need to take my abilities to the next level. I mean, Andy Reid is a classic story of that. He went from a guy who could never get it done to now a certain Hall of Famer.
So, I mean, could have been in the conversation even with what he did at Philadelphia, but now it's...
Right. He's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches ever. And I'm not trying to say that's the path for Matt LaFleur, but we talk about it with players all the time. Needed to change the scenery. And they have like a reinvention of their career. And that, to me, seems like it's going to be the path, especially now with what we know how these contract negotiations.
It could essentially...
They went and had some whiskeys and wines, signed a deal in a few hours, and said, yep, let's keep roll it back out there.
And keep rolling the drinks to us. Let's just chat about the good old days. I think what could be interesting is the same way that Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur worked could be the same way that Matt LaFleur could work somewhere else.
Right.
So, we didn't get to any actually defensive coordinators. And Josh,
did you see there was big new name announced?
I saw you raise your eyebrows, so I figured you could update me.
I was going to show you. Packers interviewed defensive backs coach Al Harris today.
Wow, that's been a name that a lot of people get excited about.
I thought it was for certain that it was going to happen. I was getting a little nervous that it hadn't been announced yet, but the former Packer great, the guy who led the Chicago Bears to have so many damn interceptions.
Yeah, defensive back takeaway guy. I mean, like, that was what was missing. All for it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? The Montez Sweat is not Micah Parsons.
I like new and different voices. Last thing I want is internal hire. I could make a case for Covington, but somebody from outside of Matt's orbit is probably, like, that's what would make me concerned about a guy like Raheem Morris. A guy he's friends with, buddy. Like, I want somebody... him and Jeff Hafley were friends, apparently, but there's different attitudes there.
Yes.
Very different.
Yes. One a little more edgy, so to speak. We will hit on Al Harris and others coming up next here on the Weekly Wager, as I think it's important to figure out what is best after Jeff Hafley has moved on. It's Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Casino Hotel and their amazing sportsbook.
We're back talking bets after this on the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
Grab the dial and crank it up, baby, because Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee is spinning its Winning Hits collection. Over the next 3 months, you could win a share of over $1 million in prizes. On top of thousands in cash and reward play, you could win one of 3 new Ford vehicles in the grand finale drawings on March 27th. Just play with your rewards card to earn entries. Press play on the Winning Hits collection, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
People say buying a home in winter is tough.
But fewer buyers means less competition, and motivated sellers can mean better opportunities.
This is Tony Wendorf with Tony Wendorf & Associates, powered by Keller Williams.
And I'm Lindsay Bendler. When the perfect home appears, our team at Tony Wendorf & Associates helps you move fast, even during the snow.
Start your home journey today with our white glove service by simply searching online Tony Wendorf.
A real estate team that always leads with faith and gratitude.
Tony Wendorf & Associates.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Fisco is always there for your auto body care. When accidents happen, Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin is there when you need them. Got a broken mirror? They'll take care of it. Dented bumper? Scratch paint? Fisco Auto Body will take care of it. If there's any damage you need fixed, Fisco has you covered. Their expert workmanship is guaranteed for the life of your vehicle. So stop in for all of your auto bumps and dings. Once again, you know the line. That's Fisco.
$2.3 million. A recent Schwab survey of Americans says that it takes $2.3 million to be wealthy. Well, you may have had your financial plan set on a bigger or a more humble number. But if you're looking for added insights on how to get there or how to avoid some tax pitfalls on the way, Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen. Mark Tauscher here, and whether your situation is complex or simple, the Annex Wealth Management team can give you wealth expertise and guidance on reaching your goals. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Brewers mini ticket plans for the 2026 season are available now with 6-game, 12-game, and build your own plan options. You can pick or build the best plan for your schedule, whether you're gearing up for tailgates under the sun, the thrill of the home runs, or the eruptions of walk-off wins. Brewers mini plans have you covered for the 2026 season with specially discounted ticket rates and more exclusive perks in each plan. Check out all the mini plan options available for 2026 now at brewers.com/ticket plans.
Something exciting is happening at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. On the second floor, you'll find the Studio Kitchen and Cocktails, Milwaukee's destination for bold flavors, fresh sushi, seasonal entrees, and cocktails crafted with care. Start your day with a breakfast that fuels you, stop in for dinner that sparks conversation, or linger late into the evening with drinks designed to inspire. With flavors and drinks for every mood, the Studio is the perfect place to gather, celebrate, and connect. Be boldly social. The Studio Kitchen and Cocktails, now on the second floor at St. Kate the Arts Hotel.
You're listening to the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Ben Brust and Josh DiMaggio live from Potawatomi's Sportsbook inside the Casino Hotel. A lot of discussion about Matt LaFleur in the first portion of the program. If you missed any of it, go to the ESPN Wisconsin app or YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee. And it's time to actually look at some potential defensive coordinators. Some have been requested for interview. There's one that they could request for interview if interested in Jim Leonhard. Now, I'm seeing a lot of half people are saying that because they're familiar with him, but I also think there's a story to be told of, he was wanted by them in the past, and he is part of an organization that would have a shot to go to the Super Bowl if not for the Bo Nix injury. Say what you want or think what you want about Bo Nix. He gives him a better chance to win than Jarrett Stidham.
Sure does.
So Josh DiMaggio, when you see who the Packers are bringing in, what excites you and what doesn't?
Well, the name we just mentioned before break, Al Harris, does excite me. I think he's one of those well-respected, highly thought-of names across the NFL. I think he's been sort of on a meteoric rise, and everywhere he's gone, people have spoken highly about him. So that one's encouraging. One I like a whole lot less is the one we got news on yesterday of Jonathan Gannon, the former Arizona Cardinals head coach, and prior to that was the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. The two other names that we do know for sure I also am pretty fond of would be the Durante Jones, the Vikings pass game coordinator and defensive backs coach, another highly regarded guy, along with Christian Parker, who was with the Packers some years ago and then has branched off, and he is the Philadelphia Eagles pass game coordinator with sort of the specialty in the defensive backs and defensive the secondary. All of those names are pretty encouraging to me. There's none, let's say, there's no Arthur Smith that really makes me worry. Gannon I'm weary of, but could be convinced of. I do not like his presence. I don't think he would bring much attitude. If you go back and watch the clips of him when he first became the Cardinals head coach, it's some of the worst stuff you'll ever see.
It's bad.
Making laser, pew, 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 explosive.
Yeah. I can't. After a guy with command of the defense in an attitude with Jeff Hafley, I couldn't do the Gannon thing.
I do think that Jim Leonhard won, and I was listening to Jason Wilde on the Home Hour right before this. He implied heavily that Jim Leonhard is going to also get an additional interview, which is equally as interesting because now we've gone through the cycle of when it first happened and he did not end up taking the job that Jeff Hafley did. It was said that he was offered the job and then had declined it because of personal life decisions, all that. And then it was reported recently by Bill Huber that he was never actually offered a contract. So I don't know where that stands. I don't know if there's any bad blood there, where that is, but it sure does seem like Jason's gotten word that the intention is to, on Monday, as soon as you can, offer or at least bring in Jim Leonhard for the defensive coordinator position.
At the time, from a business standpoint, I actually could understand why the Packers wouldn't have gone the direction of Jim Leonhard, right? Obviously a great defensive coordinator at Wisconsin, kind of in that weird interim head coach, but there was a strong narrative about him wanting to stay home. Yes. And now that he's branched off and done something outside of Wisconsin, it seems like he's accepted what is the NFL lifestyle, and this would be a double win if they want him, and he would be closer to where his roots are.
Yeah, and I mean, at the time when he was being interviewed, there was a lot of talk of him being Matt LaFleur's first choice and preferred option, and I think all of us here who have watched Wisconsin defenses led by Jim Leonhard, we can all say for sure that guy knows how to coach up a defense. I think also one of his strongest points is he knows how to get the most out of maybe not the most talented guys. No disrespect to the Wisconsin defenses of the past. They've definitely put plenty of guys in the NFL, but there's plenty of guys whose names we remember. It feels like safeties and defensive backs who never really went on to do anything.
No. And the reason why they were be so successful with the average talent that they had was we could name about 5 players off the top of our head that were under him or, in that same vein of the 3-4 system coming off the edge of the Zach Bonds, TJ Edwards inside, TJ Watt, Van Ginkel, all those guys created an opportunity where, as we saw with the Green Bay Packers, when you had Micah Parsons, Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine weren't put in as many spots to have to be heroes.
Yeah, and it does seem the interesting through line here that seems to be something Matt LaFleur is approaching it, and it's still very early in the process. But the guys that they're bringing in all seem to be involved in the secondary, cornerbacks, and that back half of the defense, which is to me interesting. Just insofar as, like, obviously there's guys who are more front seven specialized, and a lot of the guys have all had these track records of working in and amongst the secondary, which I do think with how the Packers are constructed currently via the roster, I think the cornerback room can improve, but I don't think they have the assets to make them great. And maximizing that talent and getting the most out of that, like Micah Parsons, you don't really got to teach him what to do. He's
got a motor.
Right?
He's got to figure it out, man.
Right.
Figure out the rest of the guys.
Certainly, Covington has been, I think, was many of the guys along the defensive line seem to take small steps forward. I thought Alvien played his best football after he was able to get over that. Baron Sorella instantly was a factor in games. The one we can't say would be Rashawn Gary, but that's a lost cause. That seemed to be an effort thing. And I thought Devontae Wyatt also improved. So there's enough on the and just think of investment. Where have the draft picks gone? Where have they invested the most in? The corners is the one that's really lacking.
Well, we will continue to see who gets interviewed and who Matt LaFleur decides to take as his defensive coordinator, as Jeff Hafley has moved on to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. We will update you on Joshy's horrible
it's not getting better
divisional round. And
hey, you were one game better, pal.
Doesn't matter. I was one game better, and I'm still above 500, and well above still. So we will dive into the AFC and NFC championship games with you next on the Weekly Wager.
More bets coming up. This is the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
At Associated Bank, we know running a business is tough enough, so our business is making your business banking easy. That's why we make sure it speaks your language. Business and consumer-linked accounts? How about all your banking all in one place with one login account? $50 overdraft grace zone? Think of it as a I never said I was a CFO grace zone. And maintenance fee-free account? Well, free is always good. At Associated Bank, we get you. That's why we've got you. Learn more at associatedbank.com/YouGotThis. Member FDIC.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
That was Jetsian, what I saw early on Wednesday, involving the press conference involving the Buffalo Bills and the owner, Terry Pegula, their general manager, now president of football operations, Brandon Beane, and everybody in that room saying, what did we just witness involving the complete destruction of the reputation involving Sean McDermott, no longer the Buffalo Bills head coach. Terry Pegula did everything possible to make sure that the reason we didn't decide to keep him was because of what happened in Denver. Not by all the reports that came out saying that Sean McDermott told Brandon Beane and Terry Pegula in a meeting that this roster is not to win the Super Bowl, and that's when their nose got crossed, and that's why we had to hastily put together whatever that was that we saw early on Wednesday involving, hey, Sean McDermott was your fault. Hey, Buffalo, be careful what you wish for. Now that you got it, and you may not like it, no longer having Sean McDermott to kick around anymore. In 60 seconds, beware the Denver Broncos without Bo Nix.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
It is never easy to lose your starting quarterback at any time, especially when you won a playoff game the week before and you're going to play an NFL championship game a week later. That's the plight of the Denver Broncos because Bo Nix had been that guy for this football team out for the rest of the year with a fractured leg, fractured foot that takes him out of the playoff race involving the Denver Broncos. But beware the Broncos led by Sean Payton, their head coach. He's one of the best play callers the NFL has seen in the last 25 or 30 years. Jarrett Stidham is going to get that opportunity. And a lot of people thinking this should be easy for the Patriots. There's no such thing as an easy game in the playoffs. And when you have a guy on the other side like that is Sean Payton, you can best believe this team will be ready. You can best believe this team will rally around Jarrett Stidham. And you can also best believe that Sean Payton, one of the great play calls in the last 25, 30 years, will put Jarrett Stidham in great positions to find a way to beat the Patriots. Remember, you've been warned. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
When a trophy is raised, it can feel like the season's over, but on the ESPN app, it never really is. Because with more than 47,000 live events, plus originals, highlights, and coverage from every corner of the sports world, there's always something to dive into. No off-season, just everything a fan needs to keep going. Always in season, get all of ESPN all in one place. Download the ESPN app on your TV or phone today.
This is the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Ben Bruce, Josh DiMaggio, wrapping it up here on the Weekly Wager, chatting up with our fine team at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Haley does an amazing job in everything she does. Josh DiMaggio and I on the Weekly Wager picks against the spread. Ben Brust, 36-28, guaranteed a profitable record with only 3 games to go. Josh DiMaggio, which was a valid comeback, 27-37.
I think you're looking for Valiant.
I don't care what I'm looking for. You stink, I rock. We will start with the AFC Championship game. The New England Patriots are 5-point favorites on the road against the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix, broken bone, out for that game. Jared Stidham, as Kyle Wallace told me, the team calls him Stiddy, is at quarterback. Stiddy versus Drake May. Two good defense. Broncos a little bit better, but the Patriots have gotten some guys back and have some playmakers. Go ahead, Josh.
I'm switching my pick right before I'm taking the Broncos +5. I'm worried about the Patriots. I'm worried about the offensive line. I'm worried about what we saw last week. I think even what's like a mid-tier quarterback that no one really gets excited about, but is
Baker-ish?
Someone along those lines wins that game for the Texans last week.
Davis Mills.
Yeah. I honestly couldn't believe they didn't just go to Davis Mills.
I was shocked that they're like I mean, at that point he was Sam Darnold.
Right.
You could see it in his eyes.
Yes.
He was seeing ghosts.
Yes. I think the Broncos, and I mean, I have no idea what to expect from Jarrett Stidham. I do like the under in this game as well. I think it's probably going to be pretty ugly, just like the
42.5. Yeah, I could definitely see an under.
And I don't know if the Broncos win, but I think they keep it within 5. 5 feels like a lot for a home team with all that. You've got the young quarterback on the other side. Like there's nothing you can point to from the Patriots when you're like, oh yeah, they're going to dominate this way. And that to me is concerning about them covering the 5 points. Obviously Drake May is a massive upgrade, but I don't think Drake May's looked particularly special the past 2 weeks that he's played.
I agree. I think I have to go with the Patriots -5 here. And actually, if you're worried about the road game, I would say tease it down. Mm-hmm. I'm likely going to also tease down the Patriots if you get 6 points on most regular teases. You know, you like to try and get them when they're 6-7 points, make it -1 or pick them.
I'd love to take the Patriots with those extra points. Then I'm
saying I'm going to tease it, but I'm also, for the sake of this program, going to lay the points. I think that Drake May, obviously in the playoffs, hasn't been the same. I also don't know how you continuously don't know that Will Anderson's coming off your left side and continue to fumble the ball. There should have been an adjustment from Josh McDaniels as well. Ramondre Stevenson went out, and Travion Henderson's not a huge guy, so his chip meant nothing to Will Anderson. The Broncos' pass rush is good, so I'm banking on the coaching of McDaniels and Vrabel to be better against a similar type defense. And when I say similar, they get to the passer. They have great pass rush, elite defensive backs. Yeah. Exactly. So I still am going to go with the coaching here of being able to coach with a quarterback versus coaching in spite of a quarterback, laying the points -5. I have my side, but I don't like it. Rams Seahawks NFC Championship game. I'll go first.
Yeah.
Because I'm stupid. I'm very stupid. I'm going to take the Rams. I think that's stupid. Because I still have convinced myself week after week after week after week, even when we started doing playoff preview here on the Weekly Wager, that Seattle shouldn't have as high of odds as they do. But man, they are the, I would say, the closest thing I've seen to the Houston Texans in terms of the way that their unit plays as a defense.
I'm gonna go the opposite side. I think a 1 versus 1 seed hasn't happened in what feels like forever in the playoffs. And this was actually one of the underdog picks, even though both these teams got the bye.
When you say 1 versus 1 seed, 1 versus 2 seed?
No, I'm picking the Seahawks.
Oh, but you also, where do you get 1 versus 1 seed?
The Broncos versus the Seahawks.
Oh, you picked them against the spread.
Yeah.
Did you get them to win?
I think I like that idea. I like plus 205 to win.
All right.
That's a fun one.
All right, Joshy, 1 seed guy, chalk guy.
I think the -2.5. I don't love it. The number. I think these teams are very evenly matched. I think especially being in the same division is extra concerning. But something about the Seahawks feels different.
I agree.
The Rams.
I keep seeing it, but again, this is where my biases are getting in the way of what I might do. Similar to what I did last week, I picked the Rams. Ended up switching to the Bears because of the +4 more than anything.
I think the Rams were. I thought the Rams were the best team all season, and now
they kind of struggled. They haven't impressed you as much down the end. But for some reason, in a
we're opposite sides.
Yeah, in a non-wind chill area, I'm going to go with the Rams. There you have it. We're opposite on the NFC Championship game. We're opposite on both.
We'll be back for the Super Bowl.
We'll be back for the Super Bowl on Sunday the 8th. We'll see you then. It's the Weekly Wager.
Your taste buds are in luck. The Reuben is back at Cousin Subs. Try this classic sub grilled to order just for you. Stacked with corned beef, Wisconsin Swiss